By all accounts, may contain sporadic profanity and occasional innuendo because we're no longer bound by the constraints of the FCC empire.
Zach, quick question. Scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, God, this is terrible, and 10 being, this is the greatest thing that I've ever experienced in my life. How would you rate the Caitlin Clark WNBA era so far?
Probably an 8 so far. This is the greatest thing. This is almost the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life because what's going on is incredible every single day with her. Olympics or this or that or that. I love it. It's a soap opera. It's me watching TV every night with my wife, and my wife actually sitting down and watching with me.
I give it a 1, about the same I'd rate a gigantic canker sore that takes up half my mouth. Let's go ahead and get to the open.
By all accounts, is not recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Just to bring some level-headedness to the proceedings before we dive in on this disaster that is always Caitlin Clark discourse, how'd you survive the boys' weekend, Zach?
Ooh, barely. Is that if we're only using one word? I will say barely. It's for anyone that was ever in a college atmosphere with a frat house or had like, I don't know, 6 or 7 brothers or sisters growing up, and every morning you woke up to all of them in the house or do that's what I lived through for 72 hours, but I did it at 45, not at like 21 or 18 or growing up. So the one other thing I took from this entire weekend was recovery time as you get older does not get any easier. And pool basketball is a lot more competitive and crazy on your body than I thought it would be before I jumped in the pool. Today, I feel like a bowl of Jell-O, and my head is still in Orlando. And that's where we were, by the way, in Orlando. I know Ken tried to keep it from everybody. We were in Central Florida in Orlando. But, yeah, my brain and my head's still in Orlando. My body is here, but it's a little more jiggly than it normally is.
I don't know about you, but speaking of recovery, and you look like you've held up perfectly fine. The age of 25 is when everything turned for me. And I don't think it was any one instance where it broke my body in terms of bounce back from hangover. I truly believe, and I don't know if there's really science that backs this up, but it's been more for me, personal experience, and then taking inventory of others' experiences that I've discussed with them about. The age of 25 seems to be the mean age where hangovers become full day affairs, sometimes multiple day affairs, where you can go as hard as you possibly can prior to age 25, and you're going to come out of it. You can function at least reasonably the next day. And then 25 happens and something genetically takes place in your body or something physiological takes place, and your body says, fuck that, you're a disaster, grow up. I'm pretty sure the age of 25 is where most of us experience that turn. I drink fairly consistently, but rarely to the point of drunk because I cannot recover. I can't do it ever, no matter how, in like small amounts now. I'll wake up the next morning and there's be a shit show for the following day. So I don't know how you do it, because a weekend like you had, it would have taken me the whole week after to fully recover from it.
All I know is that yesterday when my brother finally got us home and we left relatively early from the house, I had 2 guys that were flying out yesterday that had to leave the house at 4:45 and 5:15 in the morning to get to the airport to get home to New York and Ohio. I wouldn't have been able to do that. We woke up at like 7:45, 8, and I was a disaster. But I just remember back in the day, after a night or even a weekend like I just had, it would literally take one thing, like a greasy, sloppy bacon, egg, and cheese bagel and maybe some, fried potatoes, like some French, whatever it was, at a bagel place. And then, like an hour later, I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good. Yesterday, and I'm still working on it today because it's still happening a little bit today. Yesterday, I got home, had a little bit to eat, and then told my wife, go do whatever you want to do. I'm going to watch 5 Disney movies with our son on this white couch. And when you get back later, I might be the only person on the white couch sleeping, and your son could be just running around the house terrorizing things. But this is how we're going to handle things. And you know how my wife took it? No problem. I'll see you later. And she left. And I sat here, and then I woke up about an hour. I fell asleep and woke up. My son was running around the house. Don't tell my wife that. But
your son's like on the roof. You're like, oh, what the hell?
I don't know what he did. I would love to go back to the Blink cameras and see for that like 45 minutes what he was doing while I actually did pass out. But all I remember is waking up and going, oh shit, my wife's going to be home soon. I haven't done nothing. I know she said it was okay earlier, but we already know that was no way that was the right answer. I picked his ass up, called the two people I know I could call when I need help, Grandma and Grandpa. Hey, you want to see Matthew? We're going to come over. And I took him over there, put him in a bathing suit. Grandma and Grandpa got in bathing suits, took him swimming, and I slept on a lounge chair for 2 hours. It's the only recovery thing I know at this point is just to get more sleep. My dad seemed to think that like a Bloody Mary would help me. And I'm like, what the hell are you thinking at this point?
That's conventional wisdom, though. There are a lot of people.
Right, he's been around forever. Right.
Yeah. I prefer not to. I'm not a big Bloody Mary fan. Anything with tomato juice. Like I can't bring. I don't understand how Bloody Marys have become the trendy brunch, the millennial through Gen Z, high class, high end alcoholic drink into recovery. Like I suppose I would do it desperately out of recovery, but some people drink Bloody Marys to enjoy them.
Right.
Anytime VH1,
V8. But I knew where you were going. I knew where you were going, even if you would have kept it at VH1. Right.
Man. VH1 and V8. Anytime those are involved, I'm totally out on that entire thing. Like I
don't like tomato juice. Who actually like says to themselves at one point, you know what? Everyone's ordering. I'm gonna have a tomato juice with my lunch today, or something. Like ketchup is the most tomato you will ever see out of me. I get the burger from the place down the street, and maybe people like it on there. And I'm not saying it's okay. You know, if you like a tomato in your burger, that's fine. The tomato comes on there. It's the first thing I throw at my dog in the house. Like I take it off and I hold it up like this and to see if the dog will eat it or not. And it's not because I'm just grossed out by tomatoes. I love ketchup. I'm a ketchup. You know, if ketchup has really just the tiniest bit of real tomato in it, I love it for that. Tomato juice, tomatoes in general. No, thank you. Grape tomatoes on a salad, I take them off. I don't want them either. I don't want any tomatoes. If you like tomatoes, it's okay. I don't. I'm
good tomatoes in their solid form, but as soon as we start juicing them,
no.
I don't need my vegetables juiced, and then I especially don't need to attempt to get buzzed with vegetable juice in the mix. Bloody Marys are the most overrated alcoholic beverage there is, period. Not even a debate. There's no question to it. Bloody Marys, Zach and I, out on them. Man, I did not know going into the weekend, Zach. I wasn't paying enough attention. I didn't really care. The USA basketball women's Olympic team roster was going to be released. I didn't know it was happening. If it did, I probably would have thought to myself, I wonder what the Caitlin Clark angle of this entire thing is going to be. And it turns out Caitlin Clark not on the USA basketball team. And like everything else with Caitlin Clark, all hell has broken loose. She is not on the 12-woman roster. And it's been right along with the stupidity of the discussion surrounding her hip check, receiving end of the hip check against the Chicago Sky and Kennedy Carter. Like, there is no rational thought to be had at all when it comes to Caitlin Clark at 22 years old, who has never participated in a USA basketball senior team training camp, including the one in April, because she was playing in the NCAA tournament, so she had to turn it down. She has been in the WNBA, been a pro for 6 seconds. She's not on the USA basketball team, and you would think that women's basketball is now coming to an end. Some people just realized women's basketball was a thing, and now those same people think that women's basketball is coming to an end. I feel like this gets dumber and dumber every time we start talking about Caitlin Clark.
Anytime something comes up and Caitlin Clark's name is involved, not only is it front page of ESPN.com and all the websites and everywhere you go, and everyone's talking about it, it makes me laugh so hard at this point now, because it is gross. It's gross what's going on with Caitlin Clark just in general all over the place, because there should be more people applauding the fact that we're actually watching women's sports than not. And that's another story. We've talked about that a little bit before. But anything she does is going to be front page news. And if she gets snubbed out of something, oh my God, forget about front page. We got to go breaking news into like live programming to say Caitlin Clark didn't make the Olympic team. Or I look at it like this. Are we doing it for a popularity contest, or are you trying to get a gold medal? Because if you really do have 12 people better than Caitlin Clark, then she doesn't deserve to be on the team. If you want eyeballs on it, they were stupid not to put Caitlin Clark there, because she puts eyeballs on everything right now. It doesn't. If you're looking for ratings, if you want more sponsors, right now, Caitlin Clark should have been part of the 12. But you said it. These people, they like LeBron and all these guys that play for the U.S. men's team, like 3 years before they actually play, they have to start going to like that camp in, Vegas in July or whatever it is not practice. These guys don't need to practice, but just to go over whatever. If she wasn't available, she wasn't available. She's not going to be on the team. But don't make this front page news. I don't give a shit if she's on the team or not. And if she is, great. And if she isn't, okay, I understand why. But don't make it that it's this thing. And you're right, it's always a thing now with Caitlin Clark. Oh, my God.
Let's on social media at Sports. Right. And this is Unsportsmanlike, ESPN Radio, morning 6 to 10 a.m. Michelle Smallman, she's reacting to not only Caitlin Clark not being on the Olympic basketball team, but a USA Today story citing unnamed sources. Christine Brennan reporting that one of the reasons Caitlin Clark not on the team, because there was concern over the backlash if she was on the team and only played sparingly minute minutes in Paris. Here is Michelle Smallman's reaction on Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio at Unsportslike.
USA Women's Basketball was assembling this Olympic squad, and they said, strictly based on the numbers, while Caitlin Clark is an outstanding basketball player, we just don't think she's there yet. And we don't want to take away a spot from someone else that we believe is more deserving from a basketball standpoint, even though we know that she brings millions of eyeballs to this sport. If they left her off this roster because there's concern that her millions of fans would be upset with the amount of playing time that she has, that is absolutely ridiculous. That should never even be part of the conversation. It should be who's worthy enough to be on the team and who is not. And Caitlin Clark certainly has that resume if you want to put her in that conversation. It just feels to me like I've been waiting my entire life for women's sports to be getting the shine that it deserves. And we are here. And we're self-sabotaging this thing. I cannot understand why there is so much resistance to Caitlin Clark, who has done absolutely nothing but prove that she's a baller and handle every situation, every pressure, every responsibility with grace.
But here's the problem. Here's how I would reply to Michelle Smallman. There's not resistance to Caitlin Clark. There's resistance to handing Caitlin Clark the keys to the sport just because she is the most recognizable name in the sport right now. We sit here and we, to this day, sing Michael Jordan's praises, and he has been put on this mountaintop, this pedestal. He's this mythical legend with how hard he worked and how he overcame adversity and how he got cut from his JV squad and how he didn't cut corners. And after the bad boy Pistons, Jordan rules him. What did he do? He got into the gym and he bulked up and he accepted it and took on the challenge. These same people that worship Michael Jordan for all these things want to just hand Caitlin Clark everything because now we know her. We know her. You can, when someone asks you now, hey, what do you think of women's basketball? Instead of the typical response from these same people of women playing basketball, get in the kitchen. Now they can say, oh, Caitlin Clark, and act like they actually give a shit. And then as soon as she is not handed the red carpet of this entire thing, then they can say outrage, and then they can get mad at the other women. The whole thing is just a cycle of bullshit. And when I've been waiting for all this time, and again, I'm not trying to pile on Michelle Smallman, waiting all this time for women's basketball to get its shine. Plenty of women have preceded Caitlin Clark, where we've all had ample opportunity to give them their shine. The best player on the planet, A'ja Wilson, she's on the team. Where's her shine? How come we're not consistently talking about the greatness of A'ja Wilson and the now two-time world champion Las Vegas Aces? The whole thing is so disingenuous, and it leads me to this. Caitlin Clark fans and supporters, they're a cult. The entire thing is a cult. They don't actually care about women's basketball. They actually couldn't care less about women's basketball. They care about Caitlin Clark, and that's it. So stop with the elevate the sport, elevate the game. This would get eyeballs on the sport it desperately needs. Now, a 2-week tournament, it's going to be fine. Going for gold, United States of America, going to be fine. This is a meritocracy. We're not beholden to NBC to put Caitlin Clark on. But these people don't actually care about women's basketball. It's disingenuous. These people care about Caitlin Clark, and these people are a cult.
It's like the Swifties out there, right? It's like if you're a Taylor. I feel like I'm a Clarkie. I feel like I'm a Clarkie. I feel like everything you just said was exactly how I look at the WNBA women's basketball now. I don't know if I cared before all this happened. And now that Caitlin Clark's a part of it, I feel like she should be like top stage on primetime every night because maybe there's a chance for you to watch. It has nothing to do with black or white or anything. I swear to you. And it's going to seem like that because now I care because Caitlin Clark's there. No, she was popular. I didn't watch one women's Final Four Sweet 16 regular season game in college basketball. I'm going to guess almost my entire life before the Caitlin Clark thing happened, and I sat and watched the game. So whatever she did to me, she did. She got it. I don't know what it was. And maybe it was her and Reese going back and forth and, maybe we could see them again in the championship. I would have never in a million years thought that I would think like that because I really didn't care. And it's not because I don't think women should be playing basketball. They should be in the kitchen. That's not it. It's a popularity thing. I like the shiny object in the corner. That's me. I see it. Ooh, Caitlin Clark. Oh my God, she's so good at playing basketball. Look at her. She's dominating. She's in the Final Four. She's in the championship. I don't necessarily agree with the comments that Smallman said. I don't necessarily agree with everything he said because I think some of it is a little bit stupid. But I will tell you this. I do think there could have been a spot on that team you could have put her to put a couple more eyeballs on there. We are a very disingenuous kind of rooting country when it comes to stuff like this. A lot of people just want to see the shiny object. I think there's a better chance for me to watch them on TV if Caitlin Clark was there, but it's not like all of a sudden now, she's not there. No shot I'm watching it. I'm not watching this because Caitlin Clark's not getting her minutes. I just would have rather probably seen her there. But that's because I'm a fringe observer of this sport. I'm not a WNBA lifer. And yeah, that's me. But like, I kind of think that you were yelling at me a little bit and I deserve it in the last rant. And I kind of think that I agreed with some of the stuff Michelle Smallman said, but not all of it. I don't know where I am on this because I've never been here before. I've never been in this spot before. Right.
I think what's important though, is that you're admitting I'd like to see her on the USA basketball team because she's all I care about.
Right,
you have sat here previously and said, oh man, I can't wait for the ascension of women's basketball. Me, Zach Krantz, I have been biding my time, just waiting for this to come to the crust of the earth from the magma pockets below the surface. No, you haven't been doing that. You're saying I like the shiny thing. I like Caitlin Clark. I probably would be more prone to watch and pay attention through the full 2 weeks of Olympics, maybe not just the gold medal game if Caitlin Clark was there. And so, okay, but there are so many of these same people that are saying women's basketball, yes, oh man, it's our time. And then Caitlin Clark, God forbid, at 22 years old, isn't involved after being in the WNBA for 7 seconds. And this is what's killing the sport. The world against Caitlin Clark. It's absolutely miserable. To me, all of this stuff is just getting angry to get angry. People can't name the women's basketball coach.
No.
USA basketball. And it's just really, really, really ridiculous.
My dog's going crazy. Excuse my dog right now. I don't know what's that. I'm going to yell at my dog. I'll be right back. Keep recording.
All right. And by the way, for those of you scoring at home, that's Cheryl Reeve, who is the head coach of USA Basketball. But these people are a cult. And Michelle Smallman reacting to the Christine Brennan story, I think that it's an appropriate reason to worry if you're USA Basketball, because if Caitlin Clark goes to Paris and is not playing an awful lot, seeing sparing minutes, not playing in some of these games, and the USA is still going to win gold, but there's going to be an intense backlash, an incredible backlash. And so it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. What I was saying, Zach, is that USA Basketball should be. It's clear that they should be concerned about Caitlin Clark going to Paris and then playing minute minutes, because then people are going to tune in, right, and then they're not going to see her, and then they're going to be pissed off the same equal way they are that she's not on the team, because, again, these people are unhinged, they're deranged, they're a cult, they're not thinking rationally. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't if you're USA Basketball. Right. So what do? You bring in Diana Taurasi, who's 42 years old. She's the legacy pick. But Ken, I thought you said it's a meritocracy. It is. When you've won as many gold medals and championships and awards as Diana Taurasi has, even though she's in the sunset of her career, it's still a meritocracy. She has still earned her way on this basketball team based on what she's done for this country previously. She's owed via meritocracy a last go-around. And then you know what you do? World Championships 2 years from now, it's going to be the most watched damn women's world championships in the history of the sport. If that's what you're looking for, and a tournament that desperately needs that over the Olympics, which have been around and have been hugely watched well before Caitlin Clark and will be well after Caitlin Clark. She'll be on that world championship team, and then we'll see her in Los Angeles in 2028, and then you can all Captain America her, and we'll have a great time, and we'll celebrate America. Stop. You're getting mad for nothing, and you don't really care. And this has turned political, because then I see Nikki Haley tweeting about it. Oh, well, Caitlin Clark has more three-pointers than nonsense. And by the way, every guard on this roster, except for Chelsea Gray, who's been injured for Las Vegas, who, by the way, meritocracy has, based on her previous experience, earned her way onto this team if healthy. And she might not be, and maybe Caitlin Clark will get on it. But everybody's a better percentage-wise three-point shooter at the guard position that's on this team than Caitlin Clark to this point in the 2024 WNBA season. So enough with that. But what's happening is that the grifters are jumping on board, and this poor woman, Caitlin Clark, who all she wants to do is ball and all she wants to do is compete. She is about to become the focal point of white victim to the right-wing grifters, and this is about to get as ugly as it can possibly be, because now she's going to be propped up at all of these rallies and all of these events, and she's going to become the poster child for something she absolutely did not ask for.
She needs to just, at this point, stay indoors and stay away from all that, because that's the only thing that's going to make her win this. The only way she wins this is to stay out of it, not comment. Like she said, what was it? She's not disappointed or whatever. Stay out of it. Stay away from it. You are a rookie in the WNBA. There are going to be plenty of opportunities for you to do. Listen, she'll probably be the number one person on the next team. You know what I mean? Like the 2028 team or whatever it's going to be. She'll probably be the number one name on there, and then the 32 and all that. She's just going to be that person, and that's fine. But like I said, maybe it would give me more opportunity to watch. Maybe I'd be more intrigued to watch it. But I don't care. Like the fact that people are so up in arms and getting so crazy, and the fact that you had to bring up the political stuff because it's out there is the stupidest shit I have ever heard. Stay out of it, politicians. No one cares what you think about Caitlin Clark's three-point percentage. I don't want to hear it. Tell me how you're going to help my taxes more than anything else. I don't care about the other shit. And I don't want your opinion on my sports stuff. I just don't. I don't care, and you're right. It's going to totally go down that path now. We're in the wrong year for any of this to happen, especially with all the politics going on. But in all honesty, Caitlin Clark, yes. If first off, you know it, and we both know this. If somebody does drop out, Caitlin Clark's the first name. I mean, it's not even a question at this point. It's almost like they're waiting, or they knew someone was going to drop out to leave her name off the list, just so someone could come in shining in the moment and be like, by the way, blah, 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 can't play on the team. Caitlin Clark's going to take her place. Let's go USA. Like, it's going to be such a thing now. I just wish it didn't go into the depths into the depths of like garbage, of the depths of like politics, of the depths of the racist stuff that we have to talk about and the racism around the country. Yet it's going to go there. Someone's going to see it, and it's going to be a shining star for them to let me get on my pedestal and go here for Caitlin Clark. She should be on the team. She's not there because of insert comment, and you could just be able to insert your comment there for anyone out there. Nikki Haley, shut up. All these other people, shut up. I hope you have a great year in politics and campaigning or whatever the hell you're going to end up doing, but stay out of this. This is going to make it so much worse if this happens. And you're right. It's going to happen.
Again, USA basketball was in a damned if you do, damned if you don't. She didn't go to one training camp. Not her fault, but didn't go to one training camp for the U.S. senior national team. This is a meritocracy. All 12 players on the roster deserve it more so than Caitlin Clark, in my opinion. And you can cherry pick any number you want from the first 6 weeks of the WNBA season. But all these women that have made it over Caitlin Clark have been there, done that, been on the senior team, competed for country, continue to be strong players. One in the instance of Diana Taurasi is maybe the most decorated player in the history of all of women's basketball. So she's absolutely allowed to have one last go around, as Caitlin Clark is probably going to demand when she's 42 years old and is staring her final Olympic Games right in the eye. And another thing too, a lot of the TV ratings are going to suffer. I bet NBC is pissed. Excuse me, do you get a paycheck from NBC?
Right.
Why do you give a flying fuck about what the TV ratings are going to do? We love to do this to try and tear down other fan bases, and we get it a lot as South Floridians. Oh, the nation doesn't want to see that. The world doesn't want to see that. Going to get bad TV numbers because the Panthers are involved. Who cares? It doesn't matter. What is that constant fan need to go to TV ratings? It doesn't affect you at all. You don't get a point network at all. You have no bearing on it whatsoever, other than to watch it or not watch it. That's not a valid argument because you aren't a TV executive, you fool.
Right. It's such a boring excuse now, like to use that as something. I mean, give me a break. First off, I probably won't even watch it on regular TV anyway. I'll wait till it goes on demand and watch it without commercials. Hate to say that, folks, but I'm throwing that out there because today's a very honest day for me. I feel like Ken's going to catch me on a couple things here today that I probably shouldn't say, but it's going to end up happening anyway. That's just the kind of fucking weekend I had. All right, folks, just deal with me today. Deal with it. Nobody cares about the fucking TV ratings except for my wife, who sells advertising for radio or TV. You know, like that's the only people that care are the executives for the TV station and the salespeople. Me and Ken and you out there watching and listening, we don't give a shit, because you know what? If we like it, we're going to watch it. And if we don't like it, we're not. And we're not going to care what the ratings are afterwards. And we all sit down for at least 10 seconds to watch a Super Bowl. That's why there's 150 billion people when they get their ratings come out have that. And people are going to watch the Olympics, and people are going to watch the fringe Olympic sports too that no one cares about. No one cares about the goddamn ratings. There's only a handful of people that sit around a table like I'm sitting at with a horse picture behind them probably also. That's the only people that give a shit about the ratings. Don't use that lousy excuse, boring excuse, old excuse. I don't care about that anymore. No.
I promise you this is what's going to happen to NBC. Still going to get its millions and millions and millions of viewers across 2 weeks like they always do. The advertising partners are going to be just fine. And here's what's going to happen. People are either going to double down in support of this USA women's basketball team and make sure they tune in to this team winning gold, and they're going to win gold. They are undefeated in this modern era of using pros. Like they're going to run the table with this group easily and win gold. So you're going to have people doubling down on making sure it's appointment viewing or hate watching them. All those true patriots who wanted to see Caitlin Clark are going to tune in and actually root against the representatives of the United States of America because Caitlin Clark isn't there. And I can promise you that the gold medal game for the U.S. women's national team is going to be very close, if not in that 10 million viewer number. And then this whole debate and discussion that we're having here in June will look so stupid, stupider than it does right now. And you want to see maturity? You want to see someone who has actually been able to keep their collective head during all of this, say all the right things, and conduct herself in the most professional way possible? It's the source of all this angst. At Indiana Fever on Twitter, Caitlin Clark asked, how frustrated were you? You're one of the Olympic team, and I want you to marvel in the greatness of this woman who does not deserve all the bullshit hurricane that swirls around her at all times?
Your level of disappointment not hearing your name on the roster?
Honestly, no disappointment. Like, I think it just gives you something to work for. It's a dream. Hopefully one day I can be there, and I think it's just a little more motivation. You remember that, and hopefully in 4 years, when 4 years comes back around, I can be there.
Did you have a direct conversation with managing director or whomever's over there at USAB recently?
Yeah, they called me and let me know, and before everything came out, which was really respectful of them, and I appreciated that. And they did the same for every girl that made the team or every girl that didn't make the team. There's a lot of players in the Olympic pool, so it wasn't like I was the only one they had to call. They had to make quite a few calls.
Are you looking forward to a break? From Olympic action, basketball in general, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be really nice. I mean, I've loved competing every single second, but it's going to be a great month for my body to, first of all, like, get rest and get healthy and just get a little time away from basketball and the craziness of everything that's been going on, and, just find some peace and quiet for myself. But then additionally, like, a great opportunity for us to work and get better, a great opportunity for myself to get in the weight room, to work on the court and work at things that I want to get better at that I maybe didn't have time going from college to the pro season. So I'm looking forward to it. But at the same time, like, we still have a month of games where we have a lot of opportunities to win a lot of games. So that's where my main focus is.
My God.
Seasoned pro, right.
How reasonable is that? And I'm sure she's disappointed, as she should be, and she's a competitor, but she understands. And also, she's been playing nonstop since November through a long NCAA tournament run, right into the draft, right into playing preseason games, right into the regular season. These 2 weeks, if you're sitting here saying the WNBA, they're being too physical, too mean to Caitlin Clark. They're being too mean to Caitlin Clark. Why are they hitting her? Now she can actually get her body rested, get in the weight room, get some muscle there, and continue her progression towards becoming what all of you want, and that's the best player in the sport. Like, there's no downside to this other than your precious TV numbers that you shouldn't give two shits about.
Right. I think it was a unbelievable answer by her. A great professional, been there, done that answer by her. Something to work for. Can't wait. Setback. I mean, it was just a perfect answer. She could have come out and been all hellfire and been like, I really think I deserve a spot, but I'll just be there in 4 years. No, she did all the right whether someone told her what to say or not, she answered those things perfectly. And every question is going to be about it until those girls literally tip off in Paris. It's going to be all about her, just in case, whatever. Just let it go. She's not on the team. Big deal. She'll be on the next one. She didn't look like she was crying, and I don't think anyone else was crying for her during that press conference or that presser she just did outside practice. Let her be. Leave it alone. It's over with. The story should be done by now, but because it's Caitlin Clark, we're going to have it at the top of ESPN.com and the websites and the shows every day. And I guess that's it. I guess that's what Caitlin Clark brings to the table, right? But if she wasn't, would we be talking about this today? Would we be talking about this today if Caitlin Clark was not Caitlin Clark and she was good but not great? She didn't make the team and they announced. We wouldn't even talk about the 12 women put on that team right now today. That's how incredible this story is with her, that everything that's around her, surrounds her, touches her, almost touches her, is front page news. It's pretty incredible. It really is pretty incredible that this is taking the toll it's taking on our sports kind of country, our sports kind of everything industry, what she's done. I give it up to her that she was very humble with that answer, because she could have went in any direction and been any person she wanted to be in there. She ended up being very humble and very like, yes, I'm excited for my next opportunity.
It's just, it's inconceivable that we're in this place. And if you want to watch Caitlin Clark in 2024, you know what you have to do? Turn on the TV.
That's it.
Right? There's more than enough Caitlin Clark. You don't need the Olympics, and the world doesn't need the Olympics to have Caitlin Clark showcased. And she would not have played a lot. And then you all would have been pissed off there too. So stop it already.
Right. Absolutely ridiculous. Right.
And then there's this. This series, I was wrong. It appears to be over. This, the NBA at NBA on ESPN. This is the play that pretty much clinched it last night.
I have a visitor right next to me. So if you see my son walk in the video, that's what's going to end up happening. Go ahead.
Love it.
With the rejection. Here's Irving. Washington drives. Blocked by White. Oh, what a block from Derek White.
So that coming inside a minute left to go in game 2 of the NBA Finals. At that point, it's a 5-point game. Could have cut it to one possession. Instead, the Celtics able to pull away and pick up the game 2 victory, up 2-0. There has been angst on the socials because P.J. Washington was fouled on that play. Jaylen Brown pushed him in the back. Derek White, whether you or not you are hardcore about hand-on ball fouls. Some people think hand is extension of the ball in that spot. It's fine, but there was contact on the hand as well. That was a foul, but I think that this is, if you're frustrated about the Celtics' dominance, that's the place you're going to go, and it's just, think realistically. The Mavs didn't deserve to win in game 2.
No.
Just like they didn't deserve to win in game 1. Still, the ball movement is terrible. Luka's going to do Luka things, but the Celtics are really making him labor and effort. Kyrie Irving refuses to show up for this series. The Celtics' depth has been far better than I thought it was going to be against the Mavs. It's the Mavs that have the severe depth problems because they're getting absolutely nothing outside of Luka. Honestly, they're really getting absolutely nothing from Luka. And the Celtics are so balanced, and it's easy to pile on Jayson Tatum, say, look how he's struggling offensively, because he's not scoring, but he's doing everything else. He had a key poke-away turnover of Kyrie Irving late. The way he's moving the ball, exceptional. Tatum doesn't have to score when you have Drew Holiday banging in threes and attacking the rim. He's been sensational. The Celtics are going to win this, and it may end up being a sweep. And I think best case scenario for the Mavs now is bring it to 5.
Right,
It's
gentleman's sweep. I mean, I had the Mavericks in 6. I loved the Mavericks in the series beforehand, but that was based on the fact that I thought that Kyrie can go for 30 each night. Like that Kyrie could be the number 2 guy or the 1 guy on a night that Luka's off maybe a little bit, but Kyrie takes it. Let me tell you who I think the difference in this, one of the main differences in the series is Derek White. Is just a guy that is there, and we talk about him. And if you're a Heat fan or someone in the East, you know about Derek White because you probably played him in the playoffs or whatnot. He is a really good player, an underrated guy, not a superstar. He's not Tatum. He's not Brown. He's not Kyrie. He's not Porzingis. He's not Luka. He's not in that category. He's somewhere just underneath that in this series. And I'll tell you, if he has good games offensively and defensively for the next 2 games, I don't think Dallas can win 1. That's how much I think Derek White is such a factor in this. And I didn't know he would be. I thought it would be a Tatum and Brown thing. I thought it would be a Kyrie and Luka thing more than anything else. But what we've seen over the years is there's always 1 or 2 guys, whether it's the losing team or the winning team, that has a series or has a couple series in a row that they wouldn't have been there without him. I think the last 2 or 3 years, this Boston team is almost being run by Derek White a little bit. The superstars are on top, and we get that. But this guy, somehow, some way, in every series and every big game, he hits a shot. We saw it against the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. We see it every series. And of course, I'm saying that as a Heat fan because I saw it right in front of my eyes. Derek White crushing this team with just a shot here, a shot there, not 35 and 12 every night. And Tatum, I expected a lot more out of. Yet he goes for under 20 points, has 12 assists and 9 rebounds. So he's doing everything else that he can do at this point. And Tatum twice in this game, which I watched specifically and laughed at because it's something that normally the guy on the bench does at the end of the game. He tried twice to hammer dunk it down the middle. And one of them was one out of a movie where he hit the rim and the ball went flying back like 40 feet. He tried so hard to get himself into the game that it almost could have hurt them. And then Tatum, I think, took a deep breath and went, wait a minute. It's really not my night shooting. I'm going to be the facilitator. Let me get 5 assists in these last 8 or 9 minutes or 12 minutes of the game and go from there. But Derek White, to me right now, the difference maker in this series, and I never thought I would say it.
I don't know. Maybe it's I'm getting older and maybe my sensibilities are maturing. I used to be the guy who would say, how is LeBron not dominating? How is he not going off with that size and that speed and that ability when he would go into facilitator mold? I just didn't understand it. Now I do. And I appreciate it a little bit more. Jayson Tatum And we have a whole offseason, and boy, I know we're going to have a discussion about what Jayson Tatum actually is after the Celtics win this championship. But for now, where he knows he doesn't have to force it, so instead of trying to force it and get himself going, he's just decided he's going to go do everything else, and that everything else is playing winning basketball, distribute, defend, quick to switch, rebound, all that stuff. They don't need him to score when Jaylen Brown is scoring, when Derek White is scoring, when Drew Holiday is scoring, when Al Horford is contributing. They don't need him to score. It's so mature of him with an opportunity to finally win his first championship to just do everything else and get the job done. And we always want to talk about Jayson Tatum and Kobe comparisons. I'm old enough to remember in 2010, a Game 7 against the Celtics in the NBA Finals for the Lakers, where Kobe was a miserable 6 of 24 from the field, 23 points, but he made winning plays all over the place to ensure a championship and a come-from-behind victory. We don't talk about Kobe's Game 7. We talk about the fact that he won his final championship that year. That, to me, is the only discussion we need to be having about Jayson Tatum. He's playing winning basketball despite the fact he's not playing like a superstar.
Right. And I think the problem is that we're looking at Jayson Tatum in a realm that we shouldn't be yet, or maybe not ever. And I think it's like that Jordan, Kobe, LeBron type of tier. And we think he's this super. And listen, he's a really good player. And probably in, like you said, when he gets this ring, or if he does get this ring this year, it puts him a little bit above where he was before in that tier, and to a tier which is really tough to get into in the NBA. I just don't see Jayson Tatum on a given night. And I go back to a lot of local stuff and here with the Heat or whatnot, but I go back to a Game 6 where the Heat were playing Boston and LeBron was just about to be eliminated. It was over. It was done if they lost this one. And that's that meme that you always see of LeBron hunched over with his eyes kind of glazed and all that. If you're a Heat fan, you knew that day that LeBron's legacy as a Heat player might have been in before that game. Like if they lost that, we're talking about now 2 years in a row of them not being able to get to where they needed to get to after signing the big three. There's a big problem. I think this was year 2 of the big three before they won the first championship. So they had just lost to Dallas and they shouldn't have the year before. And now all of a sudden you can't make it back to the NBA Finals. And LeBron put on a show like I've almost never seen before. I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan. I still think Michael Jordan is the GOAT. But that night, LeBron showed to me the legacy game for him. I don't think Jayson Tatum has ever been put in a position where he's got a legacy game. And on top of that, I don't think he could do it. And it's not like I don't think he's good, but we can't put him in that tier yet where it's like, okay, this is Game 6. Oh, because maybe he's not been in that game yet. Maybe that's the reason why. But I just don't think he could do that. I think he's a really good player. I just don't think he's in that tier yet.
Yeah, I just don't know if he needs it. Like maybe he can be the best player on the Celtics team without being an all-time great. Like I'm perfectly fine. And maybe it's because we've been fed by national media and Northeast media that Jayson Tatum is one of the NBA's best players, or we feel like they tried to push it on us, and it's becoming clear that maybe that's not the case. But I think that's fine, and that's going to be just fine for Jayson Tatum to be an all-time Celtics great. God knows it's worked for Paul Pierce, and Jayson Tatum to me is 10 times better than Paul Pierce.
Did you see that clown last night, by the way, with his Celtics chain sitting next to Shaq? I was like, God, this guy is. There's only one city in the world that can handle this guy, right? It's Boston. Like he can't go anywhere else without being ripped, especially down here in Miami. But he can't go anywhere else. He's not liked anywhere. But in Boston, man, they love them some Paul Pierce, and he loves them.
I mean, he's part of that Celtics Big Three group that thinks they're a legacy, thinks that they had a more profound impact on the sport than they actually did. They're in their whopping one championship. Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce. He's the epitome of the self-importance of that one fleeting moment of success for the Boston Celtics. I mean, just embodiment of that franchise and of that fan base. But Jayson Tatum, like, I'm actually going to go to bat for him because he's doing everything he needs to do to finally win a championship, which has been knock number one on him. And then we can focus on where he actually lays within the pantheon of the sport. But for now, who cares? The Celtics are going to be the ones putting the trophy in the air. He's going to be the one fitted for a ring. I hate to say it as a Heat fan, but he gets the last laugh with all of this. We can sit here and say not elite all we want. The fact of the matter is he's about to do something that Jimmy Butler hasn't done in a Heat uniform, and that sucks, but that's the reality for Jayson Tatum. Hey, you want to see some cartwheels from Bob?
Oh, yeah, of course. Wow.
Bobrovsky, game one. This at ESPN, game one. I tell you what, Bobrovsky, he's on his way to the Conn Smythe, it appears. Let's see him twirling and swirling and cartwheeling to ensure a shutout.
Beautiful pass, saved Bobrovsky, rebound by Nugent Hopkins.
That was good.
That was incredible. I don't know how someone could do that with all that gear on. I don't know what, I mean, like I've said this plenty of times. I'm sure I said it to you. I was the fat kid growing up playing soccer. I was in goal, picking my nose, eating a Three Musketeer bar. The ball never came my way. And I was in goal for a reason because the ball never really traveled down there. But if that ball did, and I had to go left or right in any direction or do a cartwheel, it's going right past me. The fact that I see Bobrovsky do what he's doing, it's a big and here. Since the day he got here, the guy was ripped. The guy was ripped for the big contract in the beginning and not being the guy. And then he was struggling. Then we had 5 different younger guys all try to take his spot. Spencer Knight and this guy and that guy and this guy. And you know what Big Bob is going to do at the end? Hopefully hold up that damn Stanley Cup and say, I'm so happy to be here in Sunrise, Florida. So happy to be here. And I'm so happy we won. And we're going to embrace this guy forever at this point. But he's gone through a lot since he's been here. And I'm really happy for him because it's so much fun watching him and this team right now. I think as a pure hockey fan and not just a bandwagon Panther fan like I am right now, this has got to be a fun team to watch just in general, the way they play and the way they played against all these good teams. I really think we have a good team and not just a fluky 1 year kind of let's win a championship and sell the rest of the team off like we normally do down here. I actually think we have a good team down here, and it's really fun to watch it.
Yeah, no, they're excellent. They've already dispelled those fluke claims. That said, watching the Oilers like that, as far as the aesthetically pleasing hockey is concerned, when the Panthers get going, they are extremely aesthetically pleasing, unless they need to muck it up, and then they just dig in and they grind it out. The Oilers, that's the poster child of the NHL for wow offense. If this was a sport like the NBA that was really trying to just promote all scoring all the time, I mean, the Oilers would be that. Just watching them give the Panthers problems that the Panthers haven't encountered against really good teams leading up to this was jarring because they dominated for two full periods that saw the Panthers leading 2-0 because of Bobrovsky. But man, are the Oilers absolutely ridiculous. That game one was a terrifying experience that I wouldn't wish upon anybody because I did not have fun watching that in any way, shape, or form.
No, it's because we see what's on the other side. I've never really sat and watched an Edmonton Oiler game on a Tuesday night on TNT or whatever they play and this and that. I'll tell you what, it is a fun team to watch. Connor McDavid and these guys, you're right. This would be like the video they send out to teams. This is what we want your offense to look like because we want the NHL to get better TV ratings. We want more scoring. We need you to be more like Connor McDavid and look at this offense, the way it rolls. It's like when we talked to Randy Moeller. Randy Moeller was talking about Connor McDavid, and we were talking about all this, about how the presence of him in a room when he steps in the room, we already know he's the greatest player in the NHL, NBA. We already know he's the greatest player. Wait till you see him on the ice. I'll tell you what, fantastic. It's like when, and I know you're a Bulls fan, like when the Bulls played the Pistons a couple times before they actually won the title. Connor McDavid come down here and play the Panthers, but this is the Panthers' year. And maybe Connor McDavid wins it in a year or two. Maybe they go on a 5-year streak, as the best team in the league. Imagine if they had the goalie from the Rangers. Holy shit. That would be a really scary team to watch. But this is it. Like, I'm excited at this point because we haven't had excitement in South Florida like this in a long time. And it's only been Heat excitement. It's been no one else but Heat excitement for the last basically 2 decades. I'm glad that there's a big bandwagon going through South Florida right now and people are jumping on it. And I don't care if you haven't watched a game all year or never been to a game. Jump on now. We can all fake it together and have a good time, hopefully hoisting the Stanley Cup.
By the way, don't forget to subscribe, youtube.com /@AllAccountsShow, youtube.com /@AllAccountsShow. Zach is making sure that you understand the logistics of how to subscribe. You type, and then you poke, and there you go. You've got the subscription all ready to go. And don't forget, rss.com /podcast /AllAccountsShow for the audio version only, the podcast version of By All Accounts. Are you in or out on Skinny Tua? At Sun Sentinel, this is from minicamps. Tua looks like a completely different person from what I've known him to resemble. He's felt. He's lean. What do you make of Skinny Tua here as we embark on summer 2024?
When I first saw the first picture, I think of him at like a like Macy's or something on like that Saturday beforehand. He was doing some like event. I thought it was his brother. Like I was like, God, like what happened to Tua? And then I hear Tyreek come out and say, Ozempic Tua. I like the other one better. I was laughing hysterically. The guy looked like he lost a ton of weight, not like a 5-pound, little refresh before you go on vacation somewhere. It looked like he lost a ton of weight. I hope it helps him. I hope it helps him. I thought he needed the weight on there last year, so when he took the hits, it wouldn't be so bad on him, or maybe not hurt him as much. I hope he's a lot more mobile now with all that weight loss. I mean, he shaved his like everything off his face. His hair looks a little different. It's a whole new Tua going into this season. Do I like Skinny Tua? I'm going to wait and tell you if I like Skinny Tua if he doesn't throw his first interception on the first 5 passes in that first game of the season.
I appreciate putting work into his body, and I think that Chris Kaufman, who does just exceptional work at 3 yards per carry, made the point that just based on the Dolphins' offense last year, based on how much is committed to Tyreek and to Jalen Waddle and presumably Odell Beckham this year as well, there's been room for a mobile quarterback to get out and gain chunk yards if they can get out of the pocket. And that is the assumed reason why Tua decided to slim down and make himself a little bit more mobile, because he can move, but he's been heavy. And so that's going to cut down on your ability to get out of the pocket and get an edge if need be. And so there's more yards to be had. So Tua is making the proper adjustment here. But God, every time I see a player who's injury prone, serious injuries like Tua, and Tua has gone to this extreme to lose this type of weight, and I'm with you. I thought the bulk probably helped him a little bit to stay healthy and finally play an entire season last year. But man, like he looks like Hawaiian Pat White. And
no, God, that's the scariest thing I've ever heard. Holy shit.
He looks like Hawaiian Pat White, and I know that Tua is not going to be run out of the Wildcat. Tua is not going to be the focal point of the option or triple option or anything like that. We're not doing anything that crazy with this Dolphins team. But God, he looks so thin, and a guy who already has the injury history he does. I could just see that tiny Pat White looking body crumpled up on the turf, and it's giving me nightmares.
Just go back to the start against the Rams a couple of years ago with Aaron Donald. I think it was his first start, and Aaron Donald took him and threw him like a rag doll, like 5 yards back. That's what this Tua looks like, and that's what I'm scared of. I'm just scared of, he's going to get hit, he's going to get sacked, he's going to get everything. He's a normal quarterback in the NFL. All of them go through it. I just hope that I'm wrong, and we're both wrong, and everyone's wrong about the fact that the extra kind of weight or muscle last year helped him take those hits. Because it does look like, just staring at this picture, that one big blindside hit can knock him out for 3 games. And I think last year a blindside hit knocked him out for maybe a quarter or a couple plays. This one just looks, I mean, I'd love to have a weight loss journey like he's had. I mean, my goodness, if Tua could take me on this journey with him, I will be skinny with you, Tua, all day long. But good God almighty, you better have a steak every night before dinner, or that day have some pasta to get some carb action going, because I'm afraid that you might have gotten a little bit too skinny for that position. Mobile, I'll take it. We need it. You've seen it. We've seen it as Dolphin fans, as NFL fans. Like you said, you made a great point. This offense, if you had a mobile quarterback, could be really good for a mobile quarterback. I don't want Tua to all of a sudden try to turn into that. We saw when he ran the ball a couple times a couple years ago, he was getting crushed. I don't know. A couple carbs before the game, maybe a candy bar before the game, I'll feel a little bit better. But right now, he looks great. I just hope it looks great on the field also.
Hey, the way I look at it, what's to fear when Liam Eichenberg is protecting you?
That's why I need him to have a hamburger and 2 Nestle Crunch bars before the game. Yes, please.
God. I wanted to wrap with this. This caught my attention at SportsCenter on Instagram. This is Mount Atlantis, at Mount Atlantis in South Carolina. They had a particular hole. You hit a hole in one, you get a lifetime pass to this place. Check out what happened here.
No way. I'm moving here.
So the kid says it's a teenage kid, it appears. It's a very thin stretch of green from where you quote unquote tee off. It's flanked by water on both sides, and then it opens up into a small green area. He hits it from tee box through this small little sliver of real estate into the hole for a hole in one. He says, I'm moving here now. He has a lifetime pass. That one, if you show it again, he does not actually have the ball in the circle where you're supposed to come off from. So I'm not sure that actually is an applicable a hole in one that would allow him to get that lifetime pass. So I think the judges need to look at that.
Right.
But two, that mini golf facility looks amazing, and it's elaborate, and it's difficult, and it's complicated, and it has a lot of accoutrement, if you will. It's got the water, it's got the fountains, it's got the tunnels and the caves. And I will say this, there is very little better, period, in life than a massive, challenging mini golf facility, especially one that's not overrun with little kids, where you and your friends can go out and compete like men should. Go out and drink beers and play mini golf, and may the best person win. We are severely lacking in great mini golf courses. There's a lot of little tiny shit ones that are just thrown together in 6 seconds and made out of like PVC and cheap balsa wood. But what about especially the indoor ones with the mountains and the tunnels and the caves and the difficult windmills and the twists and turns, and some where you can't even get a hole in one? Like that needs to change in the United States of America.
It's a fun time. I know that. I mean, how do you not like mini golf? You don't have to know your clubs and your 9-iron and your wood. And you just take your club, you take your little putter, and you ride out and you go play. I have a little bit of I guess a thing with that for that shot to be the lifetime pass. I would have had like a windmill in there or something, or a waterfall he had to go over. It looked like if you hit a straight enough shot, you're going to get that in there. Not easy because there is water on both sides. I would have put a little bit more degree of difficulty in there for a lifetime pass. It seemed like if you gave me 3 chances, I feel like I could hit that at least once. At least.
You know, it could have used a live tiger. I think that's probably the difference maker.
Would have been amazing. Or like a shark. So like you hit it over the water or something, like something jumps out of the water. It just looked a little too easy. I do like a little mini golf. If you have a elaborate course, a nice course, I think there was one that we went to years and years ago that was like a black light indoor like kind of thing, where like after like 10 p.m. it was like adults only, and they put like the black lights on and everything was like glow in the dark. That was kind of fun, probably because I was 6 pitchers in. But other than that, it was mini golf. If you have a nice course, it's good. If you go to Orlando like I were, every corner's got like a Pirates this or the booty this, and they're not really good mini. It's just you got to bring your kids and waste an hour, so you go there. but give me a good one to go to on a Friday or Saturday night and have good beer specials. I think you could count on at least one Krantz there every weekend at this point.
Too many kid-oriented mini golf courses.
I need an adult one.
In need of adult. There's a reason why bowling leagues exist, because kids, they can go to the other end and play on bumpers, but they're not interfering in your bowling league. Like, let me ask this. If you're going out with a group, a competitive group, or you're going to go drink, but it's competitive, and maybe you put a little money on there, where does mini golf rank amongst, say, bowling or bag/cornhole, depending on what you call it, where you're from, ping pong, or pool? Like, does mini golf rate amongst those games, or am I just on a mini golf soapbox and giving it a little bit too much credit for it being in the discussion of the other things I just mentioned?
No, it's got to be top three. It's got to be top three no matter what. I think if there's drinking involved, adults involved, a nice competitive spirit, not too competitive where, something can go out of hand, but enough to where you're excited to go play and write down the score, not just have it in your head, wink, wink, one of those type of things. Maybe a little wager on there also. Loser has to pay for everything, something like that. Yeah, I would say it's right up there. Billiards normally back in the day, we had a billiard club near our house that we used to sneak into and try to drink illegally there also. That was fun because everyone thought they were good at pool, but we all sucked. And I think that's the same thing with mini golf too. Everyone thinks they're really good. You're really not that good at mini golf. You're just getting lucky, but it's the whole point of the competitiveness of that. It's not just the quick ping pong, this and that. It's a game. It's 18 holes. It's you shoot bad on one, you might have screwed your whole night up. So yeah, there's a little competitive spirit in there. But I would say at this point, I'm going to put golf right up there,
So I've got 6 outside of obviously competitive sports. Like, we're talking competitive, but these aren't like sports, like organized team sports. But say you're going out on a Friday night, you want to compete a little bit, you want to drink with the friends. You've got bowling, you've got mini golf, bag/cornhole, ping pong, pool/billiards, foosball. What is the one out of all? Do we include air hockey here, or is air hockey more of a Dave and Buster's, not necessarily sit in someone's basement type of deal?
I mean, how many people's houses have you went to that have an air hockey table?
Yeah, no, you're right. Foosball, I think, is way more common than air hockey would be, and pool, billiards in a basement, if those existed in Florida, much more common than air hockey. See, I grew up in a world of basements, and so all of a lot of these things, like, I'm just going by what I experienced in friends' bases, drinking beers growing up. So, of those 6, bowling, mini golf, bags, foosball, pool, billiards, and ping pong, what gets left out? Like, what's the odd competitive game out of all of these?
Friday night, we're talking, right? Like a Friday night out with the fellas. Okay, I'm actually going to take. I'm going to take cornhole out. I'm going to take that out because I feel like that sometimes is more of a backyard tailgate thing more than it is possibly a Friday night out with the boys thing. Bowling has got to be, if bowling probably 1A, and I'm going to put mini golf at 1B right behind it right there. Pool hall billiards got to be right up there also, but not as. Yeah, I'm taking cornhole out. I know I'm probably going to be in the minority maybe for this, but I'm going to take that out and keep that for the backyard drinking barbecue stuff or the tailgate stuff. The rest I'm going to leave in there.
I think bowling, mini golf, ping pong, foosball, bags, you can come into that without ever playing any of them.
Yes.
And have fun. That doesn't apply to pool and billiards. If you don't know how to properly hold a pool cue, or make contact with the cue ball, or read angles or anything like that, that's the least fun of all of those to just pick up and get a competitive edge off. So I'm eliminating pool, billiards. I'm keeping bowling, mini golf, bags, ping pong, and foosball out of all of those. Ooh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah. We had in our game room in the mansion up on the second floor, foosball, billiards, and a card table, and we had cornhole in the backyard. See now where my mind is going with this. It wasn't as much as a, kind of indoor type thing. I'm thinking more indoor type drinking game on a Friday night. That's why it's a cornhole out. I'm trying to debating myself in my head right now. Did I make the right decisions? Right.
See, don't forget, like mini golf, that's an outdoor game. You don't have to go to an indoor facility.
Correct.
Yeah.
But the indoor facility on a Friday night drinking, there's something, although I would never play mini golf in 110-degree weather like we have here in South Florida, or we did in Orlando over the weekend. If someone suggested mini golf in the middle of the day over the weekend, I would have thrown a bottle at them in the house at that point. There's just no chance.
Last week, I had someone say, because God knows I have enough time on my hands now. Someone's like, hey, you want to go to the batting cages? No. Why would I do that? Why would I go in 120 feet and sit there and just swing it at yellow rubber balls being chucked at me with no shade? No, I'm not going to goddamn batting cages in June already. Before global warming, I wasn't going to do that. And now I'm definitely not going to do that. There's not a chance.
I don't think some people around the country understand when we say how hot it is out here, like really how hot it is, because they think we're complaining because we're like Floridians and like, what? I want to tell you right now that I was sitting in a pool over the weekend in 102-degree weather, and I was sweating.
Yeah,
I was in the pool and I was sweating in the pool. That's how hot it is. If you put a mini golf club in my hand or anything that had to do any outdoor activity over that time, I'm going to throw it right back at you at that point. That's what's going to happen.
We have a lot to do later in the week. We're going to find out what the hell is going on with Danny Hurley. We're going to find out what the hell is going on with the Panthers. We're going to find out what the hell is going on with the Celtics. So later in the week, obviously, second show of the week, we'll have that for you. In the meantime, consume this, youtube.com/@allaccountsshow. Subscribe. We'll have all the different segments up, and we'll get you out on the socials as well. Don't forget the podcast, rss.com/podcast/allaccountsshow, by all accounts. And we'll have some fun later in the week and have some. It'll be the clarification episode.
Right.
We'll have a lot of questions answered later in the week when we're back here with you. Zach, continue your recovery. Here's to fully coming back to your full form after the boys' weekend. Go Panthers, and we'll talk to you later in the week, okay?
Vamos Gatos, and I'm going in a hyperbaric chamber right now for about 2 hours. Pray for me.
Going the technology route, and that's why the man is astute and at the top of the industry. That's Zach Krantz. I'm Ken Levicka. Talk to you later in the week. By all accounts, take care.